Sunday was Father's Day, and as we keep on celebrating the men in our lives this week, I want to tell you about a strange loneliness that I never anticipated. Now, it wasn't when things were falling apart. It was Rockin Rio in Brazil, one of my bucket list gigs, the last night of the 2019 tour with Pink. 100,000 people. The show was locked in. The crowd was alive. Pink was extraordinary. It was the feeling of connection to something bigger than myself. It was totally magical. And then it was done. The house lights went on. The crowd filed out. The crew broke down the stage. I was heading back to the hotel, sitting in the back of a car, silent. And honestly, I was feeling strangely alone. Not because something went wrong, but because something had gone incredibly right. And there was nobody who could follow me into what that felt like.
That's not a personal failing, it's disconnection. That's the specific cause to performing at a level most people around you cannot access. Dr. Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA has shown that social disconnection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, the same circuits, the same alarm, which means what Mark felt in that car wasn't just loneliness. It was isolation that led his nervous system to feel pain, and he had no language for it. Because men like Mark, men like you who are watching this, or the men you love, they don't get taught that language. They get taught to just drive through the pain.
And that's exactly what I did. I got to the hotel, I ordered room service, I called home, and I said I was great. Because I was great. The show was incredible. Everything was fine. And none of that was a lie, but there was a version of me sitting in that hotel room that nobody was checking on. Not because no one cared, because nobody knew he was there, the man in the quiet. I didn't know how to let anyone meet that guy. Honestly, I'm still figuring it out.
Here's what I want you to hear in that. The higher you perform, the fewer people can naturally meet you where you live. Not because something's wrong with you, because the gap between your inner world and what others can access gets wider the further you go. McLean Hospital found that nearly half of CEOs report loneliness, and 61% say it directly affects their performance. Not half of struggling leaders, the ones at the top. And this is what I see in organizations too. Not men who are falling apart, men who are doing everything right and quietly carrying something nobody around them knows how to hold. They don't say, "You can't relate to what I'm carrying," because that might sound a little arrogant. But it's not arrogance. It's the loneliness of the extraordinary. And it's real, and it deserves to be named.
Here's what I know now that I didn't know in that car. The performance is not the problem. Lights going out is not the problem. The problem is believing that the man in the quiet has to stay quiet. I've been on stages with some of the greatest performers in the world, and the ones who last, the ones who keep bringing their best, are the ones who let someone in. Not everyone, not all the time, but someone.
So here's what we're asking today. If you love a man like this, a father, a partner, a colleague, a friend, you don't have to understand where he's been. You just have to stay in the car with him. Ask the question and mean it. Not, how are you? How are you actually doing? And then wait for the real answer. Connection doesn't require comprehension. It just requires presence.
And men, surround yourself with other men who know what that car feels like. Not to fix it, not to have the answers, just to say, yeah, I know that ride. The strongest thing you can do right now is let one person see the guy behind the performance. That's not weakness. That's what it looks like to give 10% more of who you actually are to the people who matter most. That's what we're building here. Follow along. We're just getting started.
Happy belated Father's Day to every man out here who shows up even when it's hard. We see you. Now let someone else see you too.